What if you put the same effort into your body as you did into gaming? I've tried that experiment for the last 2 years, and believe me, the results have been beyond anything I could have hoped for. I bet all of us watching this want to look something like Superman, but none of us want to put in the effort because going to the gym is just so damn hard. So in this video, I'm going to let you in on the process that brought me from a lazy gaming addict all the way to someone with massive strength gains and a decent physique to boot. Plus, if you stick around long enough, I'll show you the secret that I used as a gamer to make the gym fun and engaging again. Now, I hated exercise before I quit gaming. I thought it was kind of a necessary evil that you had to do regularly to make sure you didn't get fat and die early. I thought maybe you had to go run on a treadmill a couple days every week, maybe lift some weights, maybe be a little active, go for a walk, just to make sure that you don't get too out of shape and you don't kind of let your health go downhill. So I remember I used to do all kinds of athletic activities with my school and whatnot before I quit gaming. I used to do cross country, and I saw it as just like the pinnacle of punishment. I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was a ridiculous concept, but I did it for years and years on end because it's this one thing that I've learned to recognize about myself is that I kind of have this mindset that when it comes to physical hardship and punishment, I have to lean into that. I have to accept it. I have to practice it regularly as kind of like a penance for being lazy and unproductive and I guess like gluttonous almost. With the amount of video games that I would play and the amount of bad food that I would eat, I kind of saw like busting my ass at cross country as a way of paying for all of that, as a way of making up for my lack of industriousness, I guess you could say. And that might be almost a form of like an eating disorder, right? Where someone eats a whole bunch and then they work it off with like a whole bunch of exercise, and then they go back and eat a whole bunch of bad food and then throw it up. It's kind of like balancing the scales kind of mindset, right? Which wasn't the healthiest. And everything that season of my life taught me was that exercise is a form of punishment, and it's meant as kind of a penance for just being lazy and unproductive and an otherwise unhealthy person. So that was the mindset that I had about exercise during my career as a gamer. But that changed when I discovered this sub-niche online where people were lifting weights in order to build a good physique, bodybuilding, right? And when I discovered bodybuilding, at first I thought it was kind of gay, not gonna lie. I think everyone kind of has that impression when they first discover something like that. But then I kind of sat down and I thought, well, I've always wanted a six-pack. I've always wanted to look lean. Back then, I kind of had that skinny fat kind of physique, right? I might have a photo of it that I can put up here. But I realized at that point that I always wanted to gain muscle and look kind of jacked, like look kind of good on like any given beach, right? By the way, what if you quit video games right now, then started going to the gym and had a better physique than any of your friends a year from now? If that sounds good to you, then I think my course is definitely the right investment for you. The link to it is in the description below. It's 2 hours of step-by-step content generated by me on exactly how I quit video games and managed to stay off of them for the rest of my life up to this point. So go ahead and check it out. So I decided to maybe try out this weightlifting thing, try out some calisthenics first in my basement because I didn't have a weight set. So I did that for a couple months, and at the same time I was also motivated to quit gaming, which I'll get to later and isn't really necessary. But yeah, after a few months of calisthenics, I purchased a weight set. I started using an old bench press that we had. I bought a power rack, a squat rack, that kind of stuff. Only a couple $100 of investment, but it's been a huge ROI because I still use that same set today pretty much every single day or every single week. So yeah, that's paid itself off like hundreds of times up to this point. And I'd recommend you do the same. You follow that same process if you're interested in building an excellent physique from home. Maybe you're too young to buy a gym membership. Maybe you don't know anyone else who lifts, so you can try that yourself. But moving on from that, the reason you find going to the gym so tough and so boring is that you don't have enough personal motivation to go. That's probably the first thing. So you got to think about what your motivation is. You got to sit down and think about what your motivation is to go to the gym. You got to define your goals after that, right? So my motivation was that I was tired of looking like a hobgoblin or something with like a bloated belly and skinny arms and bad posture. So that's why I started lifting. But maybe for you, it's more of a strength thing. You're tired of being weak all the time. You're tired of not being able to lift heavy stuff like your dad or your uncles could. So you want to start to live up to that kind of standard. Or maybe you just got rejected by a girl and you feel like you're weak as well, and you don't have that kind of physical prowess to back you up and make you more confident about yourself. Those are all valid reasons, and if you can get to that motivation for why you want to lift, that's very good. That's very healthy. That's a kind of intrinsic motivation inside yourself that you can pull from in order to make you more disciplined and push harder in the gym. So the next thing you're going to want to do, like I did, was define your goals. I wanted to build muscle. I was obsessed with bulking while also remaining relatively lean. So doing a kind of clean bulk, I guess you could say. And I recommend you do the same, at least for the first couple years of your fitness journey, like I did. Because that way you can stay relatively healthy. You're not eating like bad food, but you're also not sacrificing muscle gains. You're not leaving anything on the table because you're eating a lot of protein ideally, but you're also eating like a lot of organically sourced, just like relatively clean food. And you could probably just like eat off of instinct and identify what's good for you and what's probably bad for you, right? It's the organic stuff versus the processed stuff, single ingredient versus multiple ingredients. You get the point. And as long as you kind of stick to the 80-20 rule in that regard, then you can build like a whole lot of muscle, like super, super fast. You don't always have to eat completely clean. I think scheduling in cheat days is fine. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And this isn't a fitness video, so I'll move on. So I realized as I kept going further into my lifting journey, I started making my workouts longer. I started making them more intense. I realized at that point where I was pushing like super hard in the gym, I would be like sweating, like dripping buckets every single workout because I was really putting my heart and soul into this. I began to realize that quitting gaming might be the next step to helping me progress in the gym. Now, I'm not saying that if you want to build an excellent physique right now, you have to quit immediately before you even touch a weight. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that once you get to a certain level of effort that you're putting into the gym, gaming is more fun than trying to squat 200 pounds for 5 reps, right? Gaming is more fun than doing heavy bench press. Gaming is more fun than doing these deadlifts that like make your back sore for days on end. Gaming is more fun than experiencing physical pain, right? So if you get to that level, it's going to be advantageous to break your gaming habit. And what I realized at this point when I did successfully quit gaming and sacrificed it in order to achieve a better fitness level, not only in the gym, but also I was trying out for track and field. I was doing some throwing events, some running events, all that good stuff. I realized that quitting gaming was kind of like blocking off this one passage so I could put more effort towards fitness and that physical journey that I was on. And that has made all the difference. I can sincerely tell you that, because after I quit gaming, I now had so much more effort and time and attention and obsession to put towards this journey that I was on. And now I could, because my dopamine was so low, because I had so other little stimulation going on in my outside life, I could put so much more effort into the gym. I could start doing like behind the neck overhead press for like 15 reps to failure. I could start doing like ab exercises for like 25 reps to failure, calisthenics, pull-ups, all this exhausting stuff. And I just felt more rewarded after I was done it, because there's this positive feedback loop that comes as a result of not having any dopamine. It makes hard work feel good. That's what low dopamine does. That's the number one message of this video. Quitting video games, aka cutting off your dopamine, makes hard work, aka going to the gym, feel good. Quit games, get a better workout. That's the message. So quitting wasn't so much of a sacrifice. Quitting video games wasn't so much of a sacrifice as it was a trade-off for better physical prowess, a better physique, obviously, more agility, more strength, more of that skill of strength, right? But it was also a sacrifice for better mental health. And I want to talk about mental health for a second, because what gaming does is it doesn't necessarily automatically destroy your mental health, but it's very easy, especially for young men, that we take video games much more seriously. We give them much more attention and emotional investment than they deserve, right? Because I observe guys at my school getting frustrated about Fortnite, Call of Duty, losing a match, whatnot, and people rage over that kind of stuff. I used to rage over that kind of stuff, and as I look back on that season of my life, I realized just how futile that was. It's just a bunch of pixels, and if you're not skilled enough at manipulating them, you get heated. You get so mad at this little hologram that, like, imagine if you put that kind of zest and that kind of ego and that kind of effort into lifting or doing martial arts or doing some kind of similar physical thing that involves some kind of skill, then you could get so good at that kind of thing instead of just trying to get the golden gun or whatever in Call of Duty. I haven't played in years, so I don't really know what the game looks like now. But yeah, so busting my rear in the gym is actually one of the funnest parts of my routine now, like I've touched on before. Low dopamine makes low or temporary discomfort more bearable and even fun in a perverse way. Going to the gym is probably the funnest part of my routine at this point. What my routine looks like is after I get to school, I do my morning classes, and then we have about half an hour of break in between the morning and the afternoon, right? So during my lunch period, I go to the gym and I hit like a very, very intense, very, very high effort half hour workout where I lift pretty heavy. I strip the weights. I go to failure every single time. And yeah, that's pretty much my workout for the day. And I get so much work done in that period. It is ridiculous. So what I'd recommend to you is you do the same. You don't necessarily have to have like a super long workout. It just has to be very intense, very high effort. Maybe you do like one set to failure for each exercise. Studies have shown that that's maybe the most optimal way to build muscle, is just to do one set to absolute failure, to where you do like bench press to the point where like everything in your upper body hurts because you did like one middleweight to absolute failure, and then you strip that again, and then you go to failure again, right? It's intensity over the length of your workout, right? And that is not fun. Believe me, that is painful, and it's hard, and it sucks, and you get sweat in your eyes. You get so sweaty, your earbuds fall out of your ears, and you got your music on, and it just becomes painful, right? But just do that for like 10 minutes, or just like 5 minutes, and then just keep building that time up as time goes on. So there's a quote I want to share from Ronnie Coleman that kind of adds to this conversation. He said, "Everyone wants to be a bodybuilder, but nobody wants to lift any heavy ass weight," right? Because so many young men idolize that ideal male physique, right? The six pack, the big delts, the big shoulders, the meaty traps, the thick neck, boulder like arms, everything like that. Big chest, giant pecs, like a striated back, muscular legs even, that's a thing, big calves, and every detail of that physique takes hours and hours of pain and focus. Even if you're doing steroids, you still got to go to the gym and put in the effort, although I'm not recommending or endorsing steroids. But my point is, getting any kind of result that people envy and that people want is going to be tough. It's going to be hard. It's going to require discipline. And that discipline is basically impossible unless you are quitting. So if you want to look like Henry Cavill or what's his name? Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver. I don't know. If you want to look like any kind of movie star who got like really buff and really really jacked for any kind of role, then you're gonna want to quit video games. That's gonna be in your best interest. So yeah, that's pretty much the advice I have for that. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find it valuable. If you want to learn how to practically get out of the rut that is video games, I'll recommend another video somewhere around here. And yeah, like and subscribe if you like what you heard here, and I'll see you later.